Empowerment in an organization means that everybody in the organization, whether he's a director, a CEO, or an entry-level employee, or a manager, or a supervisor, or a team leader, understands one thing, that all of us in this organization, throughout the ranks of the organization, are working for a customer, and all of us are entitled to do whatever we want to do, which is in the interest of the customer and in the interest of the organization. If every employee in the organization has the power to think that way and act like that way, then that organization, the workforce is empowered. So that's the fundamental shift that we as HR practitioners need to bring in the culture of the organization, that everybody believes that I can go out there, take a decision in the interest of the organization, in the interest of my customer, and the interest of the organization. And if I have a logic behind it, even if I fail, even if I make mistakes, my mistakes will be forgiven, will be tolerated. I'll be encouraged and inspired to take decisions. I'll be encouraged to be creative, innovate, come up with interesting and unique ideas. I'll be rewarded and recognized for doing that. I'll have access to information. I'll have opportunity for collaboration. When you create that ecosystem, we are actually empowering a pioneer in building that ecosystem. That's going to be extremely important. HR has to facilitate interactions among people, because the future is going to be all about interactions and collaborations. We are going to move towards a collaborative workforce. The future lies only in collaboration, nothing else. Organizations can become successful if they get their employees to collaborate with each other, to collaborate with the customer, collaborate with the suppliers, collaborate with the partners. That's the only way they can organizations can thrive. And HR can become the architects of continuous development. But that's the need of the hour. With skills getting obsolete, with these new skills being demanded on the go, the only way you can empower your people are by being architects of continuous development. So when HR is out there to build a learning organization, the shift has to happen from employee learning to network-centric learning, where people can learn through networks, through collaborations, through platforms, where they can collaborate with each other. The learning and development departments will go away. The trainers will go away, because in a self-organizing system, people will learn on their own. Like the passengers became drivers, employees will become self-learners. They will not need trainers. What they would need is access to subject matter experts in the organization. They will need free access to information. They will need technology and platform which will allow them to reach out to whoever they want to reach out across the globe, not necessarily in their location. If I'm sitting in Bangalore and want to collaborate with somebody who's sitting in Mexico, I need to have that access, the platform, the technology which will allow me to do that seamlessly and flawlessly. That will bring empowerment to employees. So employees would tomorrow ask you don't have to teach me, tell me where can I find information. You don't have to teach me, but tell me where are the subject matter experts and how do I reach out to them. Tell me how can I create new learning opportunities for my colleagues, for myself. How can I learn and share my knowledge with others. That's what employees will ask for as we move forward. So, and then I think the solution lies in rebuilding a collaborative environment. And here the 9 C's of collaboration, as popularly call it, which begins with comprehension, and then which is about understanding what your employees need, what are the tastes and preferences, who are the millennials, who are the baby boomers, who are Gen X, how do they collaborate, and so on. Then providing the choice, building consistency in the programs that you're driving. Building confidence in the way, by walking the talk, you'll be able to build confidence in your policies and practices and processes that you're going to build. So the future lies, as far as empowerment is concerned, lies in collaboration. Building the right platform, facilitating that with technology, driving a culture of collaboration, where the shift from I happens to we. I think Mr. Sangum was talking about an environment where collaboration is very important, and what is rewarded and recognized is a culture where people say, we have done it, instead of saying, I have done it. That's what HR has to facilitate. So that's the crux of collaboration that we need to drive. So transformation, innovation in this space is all about the right tool set, with the technology which will enable that. It's about the right skill set. The HR practitioners will have to really upskill themselves when the expectation from the workforce is to upskill on an ongoing basis. At the same time, it's also about the mindset. The mindset shift is that we are not human resources. We are not HR professionals. We are architects of continuous development. We are the pioneers in building a learning organization. That would drive empowerment. Before I conclude, what are the while there is innovation, there is disruption, there is technology, changing the way we live our lives, there are certain fundamental principles which have stood the test of time. Like the wife or the husband who has disappeared, similarly these timeless principles have not changed. So, whenever you are talking about technology, innovation, disruption, it is the purpose which will drive the design of your technology solution. It's not the other way around. Many a time, technology companies are highly advanced in technology. They believe in bringing in technology for every solution. But sometimes technology may not be the solution. So whenever you are dealing with a problem, think about what the problem is, what is the purpose that you are trying to achieve. Don't worry about the technology or the innovation that you need to bring. Towards the end, I know we're running out of time, but I would like to just end with an interesting anecdote. The anecdote is about Americans when they went to the space. They realized that the pen that they're using in the space is not writing. They're worried because of low pressure, the pen did not write. It stopped writing. They're worried. How will it write in the space? They made a decision. They said, we are a scientifically advanced economy. We will invent a pen which will write in the space. And they spent millions of dollars in inventing a pen finally, which actually did write in the space. Millions of dollars. The project was launched and the outcome was a beautiful pen which writes in the space. Dear friend, do you know what the Russians did? They was pencil. So, sometimes we get so bogged down by technology, we get so carried away by the power of technology, we forget about what problem that we're trying to solve, what objective that we're trying to meet, and then we forget the fundamentals, back to the fundamentals what Professor was saying at the beginning. So whenever learning happens in an organization, it happens through reflection, it happens through curiosity, it happens through interest, it happens through collaboration. So if you really want to build a learning organization as HR practitioners, you will have to create an environment, an ecosystem where employees can think, they can create, they can innovate, they can reflect, they can make mistakes, and they become successful. So with this note, I would like to conclude here. Thank you very much for being here.
Feel it. You listen to 4 of my colleagues. They are very capable, and you know that they can make a simple thing very complicated. That's what is IT-enabled services are. You don't need them, but you want them. Simple as this. Now, if you want to put everything in one place, how many of you carry a mobile phone? Please show your mobile phone. Show your mobile phone. That is disruptive. Simple as this. Now, as a user of the mobile phone, what do you want? When the mobile phone came to Bangalore, it was 16 rupees a call. Right? And the mobile instrument used to be as big as the policeman's walkie-talkie. And the other guy can listen without this being on. Now, over the years, what has happened? You got used to mobile phones, and now, what do you want from a mobile phone are the three important things. Can it become smaller so that I can hide it? Can I make it faster? Smaller? Faster? Third one? Any guess? Cheap. NBE means money before all. So, can it be the cheapest? So, please understand what happened to Nokia phone. You have, what is it? Minimax? What is it? Micromax. You have spice. You have something that's Thai carbon. No, Thai carbon is my client. Black carbon. No, what is it? Carbon. White carbon. Carbon. All of them. Please remember, whatever may be the popular disruptive innovations, you have to go for lunch. Lunch will not come to you. Even if lunch comes to you, you have to have the lunch. Lunch cannot have you. Right? Now, my job is to take questions. Have some questions come? No, very simple. Anybody can answer the question. It's randomly distributed. Sometimes even to answer. Thank you.
So here's a question. How can innovation be quantified when it comes to pricing employees? So who was asked this question? Wonderful. When they say how can innovation be quantified and for that matter. So it's like going to the temple or going to the church and then asking what is the ROI for going to the temple, going to the church. And can you say that? It's difficult to spell out what is the ROI, but we still go to the temple, we still go to the church, we still go to the mosque. So I think it's something like that. But having said that, the organization should really look at innovation seriously and see what kind of quantitative measures they should have when they look at innovation. So some of the things that come to my mind, top of the mind thoughts, my panelists can add to that. I think one of them could be, when you run a project, what are the creative ideas that have come out, and then how many creative ideas have really got converted into innovation, and then what kind of dollar impact that has had an organization in terms of saving cost to a project, to a transformation, a technology transformation project. What can we really save for the organization? But in the simpler terms, when you look at an organization as a manager, how many innovative ideas that have emerged in your team, if you're a team of manager? How much of investment that has gone into supporting and innovation? How many ideas have actually become tangible projects, and so on. So these are some examples which are top of the mind thoughts, and then we can go and keep adding to this list.
Okay, so Nisha's question was, you spoke about the paradigm change in HR practices and placing people as key. My question is, there are still organizations who do not be following this practice, but have their bottom and top line met. Your view on it. So I think it's about the culture and the organization that you want to build and the culture of the organization you want to be a part of. I think when companies put their people first, I think the top line and the bottom line achieves itself in a very significant way, because you have committed people who are excited about actually working for your organization and making it a better place. That being said, there are companies who maybe don't have such great practices, or maybe they haven't yet achieved that level of paradigm shift. And I actually think that the short term, that top line and bottom line stuff, that would then become a short term game only. It would not be sustainable in the long run. Because at the end of the day, there's plenty of amazing choices out there. People have very good choices of where they want to work, how they want to work, where they want to contribute. And if they're not excited about where they want to be, and if they don't believe in a mission or a plan that's bigger than themselves, or they don't feel like contributing every day, that attrition number will start going up. And then when you start losing good people, the good people who are left want to follow them. And things like that start happening over time. It may not be immediately apparent, but over time it will happen. So I don't believe there's very many companies left in the world that don't actually focus on their people anymore. I think those that don't are slowly changing their mind. But they're recognizing that, it's a pretty tough market out there to find the amazing talent that they want to look for. And they're, if they don't do that, if they don't put those employees top of mind, they're not likely to succeed in the long run. They will fizzle out. There's no two ways about it. Hey, Ramesh. So, how do you allocate costing for 200% of employee time for innovation? I think I'll go back to the previous statement about how do you measure ROI of a good or a church or mosque or whatever. At the end of the day, I think this stuff pays itself back in spades. So I don't know that we worry about costing. I can assure you that in a day you're spending, if anyone tells you that you're working for 8 hours a day, they're probably not speaking the truth. Nobody can work for 8 hours straight. So if you were to add up all the time that you spend between working, thinking about your work, going and getting that cup of coffee, chatting with your friends, checking out Facebook or LinkedIn, or spending some time browsing, watching a quick little YouTube on something, by the time you add all that stuff up, it's way more than 20% of your time. So not worrying about that as much, but more about the outcome of what you actually do with the 20% of your time, which is what matters. We've had amazing ideas come out of those indies. People have gone on to discover new passions, they've gone on to build companies, they've transformed their careers, they've spent time working on community projects that really matter to them. And at the end of the day, the overall goodness of what they're spreading is transformative. They're spreading the wealth. It's like a ripple effect, And so that's really hard to measure, and it's not even worth measuring because the outcome is so amazing.
One is very close by to you called Indian Institute of Science. You must have heard about that organization. They just employ great people, and that makes organization great. I was just telling Lata that we do have fun all the time at IIM Bangalore. We have fun at the government. We have fun with the students. We have fun in the name of consulting with organizations. Life is meant to be, you should have fun. Otherwise you become numb.
Question for me from Manju Bhaduri. Thank you. What is actually this happiest mind? Good question. And how does it work? When we started this company 5 years back, when I went home and told my daughter, she was in BSc at the time, and then I'm leaving my work at Mindtree and starting this Happiest Mind along with Ashok. So she said, what's the name of the company again? I said, Happiest Minds. She asked me, is it a crash? Is it some child care company? So we are a software services firm. We help our customers in their digital transformation journey. We work on disruptive technologies like cloud, mobility, unified communications, big data and analytics, social computing, Internet of Things. These are the technology areas that we work on. We help our customers to help them give their customers a better customer experience, to run their businesses better, to build better platforms that their businesses can become efficient, to help the customers build their products which they can sell to their customers, and also run their businesses in a scalable, secure, predictable way, their infrastructure. So this is our business. We are a software services. Now, you ask me how does it work? It doesn't work. How people work. Company doesn't work. Right? So my job is to help the people work, the people grow, they deliver what the customer wants. Thank you.
Your presentation of how workforce will change, roles will redundancy would increase, role-wise redundancy will increase. So is it indicating towards a global level management of workforce waste? Just like e-waste, etc. Who asked this question? Great question. Okay, so there are a few interesting things which are happening and going to happen. First thing, on one hand, we will find jobs which are not getting filled in, and you will see unemployment, you will jobless. That's an interesting contradiction we will see. Another interesting contradiction that we will see is productivity is increasing in organizations. Organizations are becoming more productive, but the salaries are not increasing. Another thing that we will see, they will say economy is slowly booming, but the rate of increase is dipping. Okay? This is debatable, some of my colleagues will challenge this and so on. These are some of the predictions. We'll only wait and see what happens. Some of these have already started happening. So, when this change happens, will it lead to redundancy? Yes, in some cases, it's going to be painful for many people. There will be many people who will go through the painful process of losing their jobs. And they would realize that the jobs are going away and they either don't have the capability or the expertise or the willingness to upskill themselves. And people who cannot really evolve and upskill themselves, they will definitely disappear. It will lead to some kind of redundancy. But organizations really don't have to, they will move out of the organization. There will be difficult moments, there will be difficult conversations, but these people will, give way and they'll move on. So, but who will survive and then, what is the thing to do in a scenario like this? Great example is Amitabh Bachchan. While I think as Anjan was saying that the movie industry is changing and the actors are changing and evolving, there's one guy who has evolved for the last half century or more than that. He just has been evolving and he survived and he's doing great, he's rocking. So people who can keep pace with the time, who can keep pace with the changing times, they will survive. But how organizations deal with such people, everybody is not Amitabh Bachchan. There are many actors, many movie stars who have just disappeared, who have not been able to keep pace with the time. So that's where the role of HR practitioners like us come into play. The role of aspiring business leaders and professionals like you come into play, where you will have to be the change agent and inspire them and enable them to change. You have to lift them up, to see things in a broader landscape than seeing things in a narrow silos or in an isolated manner. So that's where I think, so I don't see the need for a global workforce waste management, but I see the need for a more proactive approach by HR to prepare the workforce for tomorrow, which is dynamic and which is changing, which is uncertain, and we're living in a VUCA world as I said. Thank you.
Just to quickly add, and just to delay your lunch by a few minutes. That's my main intention. This is just an excuse. Listen, certain jobs will disappear, certain roles will disappear. Obviously. For example, in Bangalore, how many of you see any Tongas? He showed a horse carriage. They were there in 1950s, 1960s. I traveled by that when I came to Bangalore first. Right? Then after that, what happened? What is happening to the auto drivers in Bangalore? They are upgrading themselves either into a taxi driver. Right? This is bound to happen. If you really want to understand our struggle from 11:30 till now, think of a guy called Ram Gopal Verma. He's a lovely example of disruptive innovation. He uses technology. I don't know how many of you know,